Welcome back to the Thoughtful Advocate podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Teal, and today we're going to be talking about codependency. And while I was not in a toxic relationship, I did want to share about codependent relationships and how they affect you, where they come from, and just how I navigated it myself and how I became aware of it. John's always been my safe person in my safe space, so I'm very grateful for that. And honestly, one of the main reasons I kept going in my 20s, even though I was so depressed, and I just ultimately felt like a failure. He's really amazing and honestly, first healthy relationship I've ever been in. And yet, I was completely codependent. I think I want to make this clear because a lot of people, when they think of codependent relationships, they think of toxic relationships like Stockholm syndrome. He's abusive and we can't get enough of the toxicity, and that was not the case for me. Was in fact the opposite. Let me explain first what codependency is. Basically, codependency is when your whole sense of self comes from someone else. And oftentimes that's supposed to come as oftentimes your whole sense of self-worth and security, it's supposed to come from you, but in this case, it could come from someone else, especially if you had a traumatic past. And this is a relationship pattern that's been talked about for decades by psychologists. And it's a lot more common than people think. So the most Googled signs of codependency is losing your whole sense of self in a relationship, needing constant reassurance from your partner, fear of abandonment, which is also like a trauma response, and then of course putting someone else's needs way above. And I want to reiterate that codependency is not caused by bad partners, it's often caused by unhealed wounds that you have and that you're bringing it into the relationship. John and I met when we were 18 and I got very lucky. We literally met on Tinder and it's like 99, if you were on Tinder back in the day, and even now, 99% of the guys are just there for one thing and one thing only. And I got very lucky that John was like the 1%. We were looking for the same thing. We wanted a family, we wanted kids, and ultimately we wanted a relationship and a partnership and a friendship for life. So it just really worked out for us. And since then, he's always been my safe space. Growing up, I had a very bad image of guys and men thinking they're all toxic and abusive. And even though I did date in high school, it wasn't real dates. Like, we couldn't go outside of school because I was like locked in my house. So he's like my first actual real relationship and first love. And I think I got very lucky. And honestly, it was God's plan too, because we went through very traumatic things in the same year. And I feel like we really bonded over that, and just our curiosity and our hobbies just aligned. Unfortunately, I came into the relationship with a lot of unhealed trauma, so I had a lot of mental breakdowns. I came out of 2014, and then I didn't really meet him until like March of 2015. So I was still very mentally ill. I was carrying loads of unprocessed childhood trauma, even though I was seeing therapists before. At this point, I was very unstable, and I thought a relationship would save me. I was looking for a guy to save me, which is quite embarrassing to admit that I watched a lot of Korean dramas growing up, and I just thought another person would save me, and that is not entirely true. I'm really glad to have a rocking support system from John. Ultimately, I saved myself. It's very common when you have trauma for your nervous system to find a safe space in someone else, meaning that you'll cling on to that person for dear life because that's the only safe space you know. And deep down, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop the whole time. Something bad is bound to happen, and like this good relationship can't last this long, and all of this, so many doubts running through your head. So just clinging on to that person. So even though Don was not going anywhere, and he's very loyal, I had a hard time, especially when he would try to spend time with his friends. I just could not stand it. I was like, he's gonna leave me, like I really need him, like I really need him to come see me. And I would just feel so anxious, like he was gonna leave forever, and I didn't know why. And I would ask for constant reassurance, so I would be like, do you love me? Tell me why you love me. Give me all the reasons. And honestly, I needed to hear it. I honestly needed to hear it over and over again because I just cannot believe that someone would love me unconditionally. Because again, it was a traumatic romantic relationship, but you see in the video with my father, I just felt like the love was like conditional. If I did A, B, C right, then I would hit some form of love. And that's just how it felt with my family for a long time. And unfortunately, my over-reliance on John's reassurance and him as a whole person, it meant that I didn't really build a life outside of our relationship. So that meant, like, when I came to Canada, I wasn't really looking for friendships. Like, I wasn't rebuilding the girl group that I had in high school back up. And because I was like, oh, John's all I need. And I honestly, mentally couldn't focus on anything else. Even school was hard. And I think my whole identity became one zero waste cutie. That was my name back then because my Instagram page, and two, would be John's girlfriend. So that was like my thing world. It might sound romantic. Oh, you found someone that's gonna be a safe space for you, which in a way is a bit. Honestly, no one should have that much pressure and so much weight on them. You're constantly relying on them. And I would say that, yeah, the fear itself of being alone, being abandoned, of not being enough without them, it can honestly feel like love. And I don't want people mistaken that. It's very common for the people to feel that way because it's just so consuming. For the first time, you're feeling like safe and in love. And for other people on the opposite side of the spectrum in bad relationships, they could feel like that toxicity is what they need or what they deserve. And yeah, I think it's very dangerous. So definitely speak to a therapist, get help, be on the mental health crisis line if you're like in dire need. But therapists in general can help you walk through all of this. And yeah, think that's an important line that you have to drop. Are you being codependent or are you actually like in love? And you have to figure out that for yourself. And yeah, I don't think love should like let you completely lose yourself, like you lose your sense of identity and everything about you. I think it should add to that. So because we're all like whole people, we have our own interests and hobbies and friendships and all of that. So yeah, I think healthy relationship is something that adds to you as a person. But this is very common in childhood. If in childhood you had emotional needs were unmet, oftentimes we grow up searching for that need to be met through someone else. So yeah, it's just something that we learn, and that was a coping mechanism for us. But yeah, you're probably wondering how I healed from this and how I started to become a whole person myself. One thing that I did that really turned my life in 180. It took a lot of time, a lot of healing, a lot of therapy, a lot of self-reflection and understanding, and really maturing and growing up. Because the biggest shift came when I truly started loving myself. I don't really think truly did that until maybe over the last year, which is a lot sad because I'm like 29 and most of my life that I know of without truly loving myself is that I'm glad I'm here today and I made it. And honestly, my son has taught me so much. So yeah, that means that putting myself number one on my list of priorities was never, like I was never at the top. For that to change is major for me. And yeah, practicing self-care consistently, that means like in showers as often as I can throughout the week. So if not daily, at least most days, so I can reset myself. My therapist said taking showers really resets the nervous system. And yeah, it's really good for just setting a day, honestly. And I found that the more I filled my own cup, the less I needed external environment. I didn't need to pull as much from John as I used to. I really don't ask about that stuff anymore because I just know that he does love me. Obviously, honestly, it's nice to hear it once in a while, but I am not needy about it anymore because I know that I love myself now and that I'm here for myself. And I didn't really feel that way until I actually started doing that into actions, taking care of myself, putting myself first, letting myself rest. And yeah, that again really didn't happen until like in the most recent, of course. And then I always had a whole sense of identity, being environmentally friendly and standing up for all those rights and all of this. But because I stepped away from that platform, I changed my name and changed the direction I wanted to take my page and my life in. I had to step away from that identity too. So I feel like I've been reborn and renewed. Because yeah, right now I'm in the phase where I'm focused on my family, growing and taking care of Ace and my next little baby. And yeah, just creating my own family, literally, and hopefully building community and yeah, being a source where other parents can relate to and understand, and anyone just in this journey. And yeah, really practicing boundaries, so important for me because I never really did or never really got to. I was always overstepped, and I've had many opportunities in the recent years to really practice social. And yeah, really becoming my own person, like having my own needs, my own hobbies, my own interests, and my own space, all while, having a wonderful partner. I would say if you've been through something similar and you're questioning yourself if you are codependent in a relationship, really did reach out to a therapist and just talk about it because that's the first step. I want to say that if you're getting yourself worse from other people, it's not healthy. And honestly, no relationship can really give you self-love. So it can be nice to see other people like truly love you. Then until you start doing it yourself, it's really not going to change. So yeah, I hope you resonate with this video. And if you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And yeah, follow me on any podcasting platforms, Advocate. And you can always DM me at Thoughtful Advocate on Instagram. Okay, so today's sponsor is Kind Laundry. Just kidding, they're not really a sponsor, but I do have an affiliate code. Kind Laundry use natural ingredients and it actually comes in these sheets. So much more useful than liquid laundry detergent because that stuff gets messy. With Kind Laundry, you can bring this anywhere. It's literally in a box, pack in your suitcase, and it's that easy. You can get 10% off by using code ZeroWasteCute.